Hey guys, series here, Hardcore League. I think this is part 5. I didn't forget about the hardcore streaming, but I just didn't really have the inclination to keep signing on and streaming because there just really weren't a lot of views. I wasn't getting any questions, so I figured you guys really didn't have anything to shout out about that wasn't already mentioned either here or in other streams. So I did make it on the third character to the 5K favor. So I'm at 5004. As you can see, I've got the horse. Still haven't checked in on the Sharn one or the Harper's one. You guys probably know how this is. Once you hit 5K, you kind of just take a big breath out. You're stressed from jamming all those hours and grinding this out. So I hit 5K doing all of this. Let's just scroll down the list a little bit. I did get the stealthy repo. What I did is I put a couple kobolds out top, and then I just used web and charm in order to confuse the other ones, make my way down, grab the gem. What else was difficult? The Lost Tome. You can either jump in and grab those electric runes yourself, or you can get close enough to send the hire to do the runes. That's not a big deal. Let's see. New ringleader info. Info's key is a nice, easy one. I had fun taking that one on. Where there's smoke, that I soloed that. Catacombs wasn't a big deal. The one where you have to get the 3 pieces of the book, it's nice to have somebody with evasion grab the pieces, but I probably could have just meated through it. What I mean is if you have so many hit points, you could just take the meat damage, like whatever the spikes do, you could just take it. Sacred Helm is fine. Of course, there was the one issue with what was it? There's a number 3 in here. It's the one in the Gatekeepers. I don't remember the exact one, but the one with the magma brute at the end, you have to be careful with that brute. Because the fire damage and the methods, and if you're trying to solo it, that can really take you out of the game. At least it's early, so if your guy dies, it's not going to be a big deal. That's difficult because when you get close, she can sound burst stun you. So anything that stuns you, or trips you, or holds you, is going to be bad. So I would definitely recommend spending the shards to re-roll and get your FOM boots. Just actually, let's keep working down. Let's see, Kobolds. Of course, the Shantukor Part 3 has that really difficult trappy area. Try and get a buddy to get you through that. I mean, you can make it through the fire, but again, it's gambling. If you're gonna haste aid, temp HP, get your jump scroll on so you can try to jump over it and then go for it. That's fine. You know, get your fire protection on, get your resist 20 potion from the catacombs, and you can give that a try. But I'd still recommend having a buddy go through. What was it? Tangle Root over in House P is not a big deal. You can solo it. Just make sure to do it from a distance because if the hidden hobgoblins trap you, there could be a death there, either from them or from the dogs trapping with their trips. So beware of those. Yarkich's War Plans. Remember that one? What you do is you go all the way around the right side of the whole inner circle there. Use a ranged weapon or something to hit one of the guys up top and then circle back around. They will come through the traps and you can just take them out. You don't have to worry about the blades or the spikes. They'll come to you. So get it that way, okay? Vens. Waterworks, all of these lower level stuff, there's a lot of guys running it. The only other one you have to worry about is Repossession. That's where you have to go in and disable the 9 traps and then fight the guy at the end. Yes, there are 9 traps. Either use a trap hire or get a guy to do it, but watch, press X and watch the XP to make sure that they disable 9 traps before you step in there, because you just don't want to get hit by that. So there are 9. Proof is in the Poison is soloable. You can jump around the left to get around the fire, and really the traps for that aren't such a big deal, but still easier if you have somebody with evasion to help you out. Irestone, I would recommend more than one person. Try not to solo it just because of the amount of mobs. And then make sure that you have something to negate the exhaustion from the witch doctors. They like to put that exhaustion ray on. Freshen the air. Get your shield clicky. Get your resist acid, resist fire, prot acid, prot fire. I still recommend not soloing it because those guys can be hidden, the trogs. Let's see. Depths are no problem. There's a couple of traps, but you should be able to wiki walk it. I'm coining that term. It's called wiki walk. That's where you have your game open and then another screen somewhere else on a laptop or whatever. You have wiki open and you're walking through the quest while watching wiki. So you can wiki walk. Let's see. Witch Hunt, wake me up. I'm not super familiar on the phase. I mean, I've been through the phase enough to be familiar with them, but just reading the title, I'm not going to know what's up. Here's the trick for these guys. Step into the first one. I think it's the one that doesn't take all of the levers. I think the one that takes all the levers might be Burning Heart. So get your pet or your hire or whatever. Go into like Crimson or Immortal, pop your hire, and then when you come out, you'll be in that little area with the sarcophagi. Park your hire there, and then go into the next one, and then pull your next hire, and then use the feet to bring them to you. It's if you don't have a pet, it's the easiest way to get enough hires. Get a rogue hire, because you're going to need them for Sanguine Heart. So you should have at least 3 hires to step on all this stuff in order, if you're going to solo it. Otherwise, get a buddy. Stones run red. Fire caves is fine. It's not a big deal. Snitch, there's that fire trap. Just be careful when you're going through Snitch if you're going to solo it. Prove your worth, of course, that's all that's all the traps. You can get through the traps. The spikes will come up, 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 and then you just run through. Don't break the boxes, just jump over. And if you start fighting the iron dogs, make sure you don't bash or pop the barrels. You can use a jump scroll to jump up and grab the lever at the very end. Just beware the darts. Party crashers, you guys know how to do that one. Just bring a trapper, bring a higher trapper, get the boxes, get the trapper. For that one target where you need the true sight, target the rune, fire at it, step through, fire again. It's the first one, kill it. Delaras, we've all done that many times, you have to worry about that. Lost Locket, you know, that's that underwater one, isn't it? Just beware of the Kelpie horse at the end, he hits pretty hard. Two-toed, everybody knows that, we farmed that like heck. The House K ones, just there's groups, don't worry about those. House of Shantcore, we've already been over that, beware the traps, beware the fire. Endless Revels is fine, Ghost is fine, the Depths are fine. For these can be soloed, the Chief Ungers, the delivery for the Chief, after you get the keys for the 2 doors, you walk in, let the traps trigger, and then I don't know. You can either use a jump scroll, your aid potion, get your HP up in case you have to take the meat damage, but you could do like a letter S, you know, where you jump in between the traps, kind of like in a diagonal, but not so far that the blades on the wall are going to hit you. If you're not sure, just get your jump up. And FYI, a jump item and a jump scroll will stack, so do them both to get your jump up, and then keep your feather fall on to keep you in the air higher. Let's see. Chamber of Insanity was fine. Bring a trapper, otherwise pull the lever from the side, you will get hit. Frosty Reception, yeah, that one's kind of, they hit hard in there. I would advise not going for the optional chest, but you gotta do what you gotta do, especially if you're farming. Trog's Get, I probably wouldn't solo that one because of the warlocks at the end. At least get a hire, send them in. You know, the attack button to send the hire in first, they catch all the spells, and then you can follow up with the hail of whatever. Your damage or your ranged or whatever. Red Willows is easy to solo. Just stick to the sides, get all the items, D-door, go back down south, kill, what's his name, Sufflepox or whatever, take that item, D-door, go kill the giants. Quid Pro, I'm going to skip a little bit on the phase stuff. We've got Purge the Heretics, that is soloable. Just jump the trap. I mean, wiki walk it, you know where it is, jump it. Promise of Fire, that's one of the new ones. Let's see. If you do the puzzle, you can stop the spikes, but the part going down, what was it, the sword, is going to be, so you could use some evasion for it. Price of Freedom, I would advise not soloing it just because of the fire damage and all the stuff that's going to try and hit you. But if you do it, just do a run on the, go up top, run the outside circle, and then run the inside circle, and it'll open the middle. Let's see, Needle in the Face stack. That's where I died on my second life. There was something funky with, we went through, we found the chest, we de-doored, we were at the beginning. I must have not checked. I don't know, maybe I had the dot at the time, but I'm walking toward the portal door, and all of a sudden it's bam bam and I'm dead. And I look, and I took like 4 stacks of Maggot Plague, a Magic Missile, and a Sonic Blast fail for 92 points. So somewhere in there was a little bit of a fey lag. I don't know, but I didn't see the 4 points. But whatever, let's move on. Windmill, iron mines. Okay, when you do the first parts, let's see, 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think it is where you have to do the trolls. If you can't D-door, worst case, just recall out and come back in. Screw the experience, but try not to run back through those traps. It's not necessary. Let's see, Immortality, Ice Mount, Glade Watch. That's the waiting one. Just buff, run around the corner, wait 15 minutes, come back around, kill the ogre, and be done. Soul Cache, Devil Assault. That's the first one that I did do max on. I did hard on that. I would advise Elite. And if it does Elite, try not to have a full party if you can, because it scales. Dead Predator Chrono was a group, definitely. Cage Trolls does have the traps, be careful of those. You can get around them, but again, avoid unnecessary risk. Bounty Hunter's got that tunnel, that trap tunnel. You're gonna have to get a rogue higher. I wouldn't advise the risk. I mean, you could probably step quick and meet through it, but I wouldn't advise it. Get somebody to help you with that. Same with Other Man's Treasure. Get a swimmer. Don't bother with the swim. It's possible. You can practice it on live, but I wouldn't. Let's see. Tide Turns. That's another one with the trap hallways. You have the cold one with the spikes. You have the fire one with the blades. You can get through it, but rogue hire or buddy. TOE2 I skipped because of the mushrooms in the end fight. I didn't want to deal with the earthquakes. TOE1 was fine. I grabbed the key with the D door, went through. We paid the 25k plat for the fire, and the rest was just everybody making it to the end. Tier was no problem. Taming the Flames was tough for me, but I got a group, so I was able to get some help with that one. See, Storm the Beach. The Pit I also got help for because I can't stand the jumping for the furnaces. It's a little fuzzy for me on the Pit, but I helped where I could. You know, I was buffing people and resist acid, resist fire, prot acid, prot fire, jumps, pulling levers, helping people to get up. There's team effort on that one. Threnal, you can solo it. It's boring as all heck if you do, but a group makes it a lot faster, especially if you have the rogue hire for Southern on the part with the gates. You can pick lock through instead of having to find the second key. That helps a lot. Gwillins, again, the traps. You can wiki walk it, you know where they are, but if you have a little trapper help, that would greatly reduce your risk. It's risk mitigation. That's what Hardcore League is all about. Bargain of Blood Zorian, again, you need some help with that one. Just to stand on the symbols. So you have the 2 go up one side, you have the 2 go up the other side. Soloing is possible, but trapping makes it a lot easier. The Shadows, I'm not even going to bother with those. It was a group effort, especially the one, I think it's... Was it Shadow Lord? The one with the spinning blades, and there's the electrical one where the range and throw the dagger, and you guys know these, don't worry about that. Thrall, you can solo, especially if you have D-door. Just be careful of the fire bomb in the first part. Jump the poison, watch out for the cold. You know the drill with that one. Vons, I don't have to worry about those. Von 2, watch out for the beholders, of course. Let's see, Strombolds has the electrical trap, but easily soloable, so Stormcleave. Spies, the damage is reduced, it's not epic anymore. I had a lot of resist. I had an item on for electrical absorb 19, I think, and I was only taking like 15 or 20 points per tick. It was nominal. If you're worried about it, get an absorb electric item. Get your resist 20 on, get electrical prot, get your haste, your aid, your jump, and you'll be fine. Slave Pits, yeah, you gotta trap your way through that one. Get a group. Let's see. Threnal, I'm not gonna go over Threnal anymore. White Plume, you can solo it, but the pulls, you want to have a group for the pulls. Shadow Crypt, just get your underwater action item, swim for your keys, use the wiki for the path. Solo it if you have to, but usually groups want to get in there. Let's see. Red Fens, that's fine. Just watch out for the claw with the fire and the fire traps, the fire hallway. Make sure you have your fire prot on. Bring a trapper or a trap hire if you can. Church and the Cult, I think there was some traps in there on, what was that, on both sides with the fire and the ice. Just beware. It is soloable, but you know the higher. Tempest, we did a 1-room run on that one as a group. It's not hard to get. The Vaughn was pretty fun. I actually did my first one where I did both the voice and the ring and did all the stuff on that one because I couldn't find a group, so I put one together and people joined like crazy. I did the 2 in the Restless Isles, the Slavers and the Golafan. Not in this hardcore, but last hardcore, I did meet through the traps in Golafan. It was scary. I probably wouldn't do it again because of the new champ types, but it's possible. So I was running about 900, 1000 HP, and I was able to get through the blades and stuff on Golafan. It wasn't a problem. But with a trapper help or somebody with evasion, it's really a bonus. The Cult of 6 on the last part with the traps, the fire, you can get through the fire. Just put your resist 20, your pro 20, take an aid potion, get your speed, a haste potion, get your speed up, jump through. You probably only take 1 tick of fire, but don't linger in there. And then the other side with the blades, you can get through taking the blade hit 1 time. It's not bad. And then just D-door back. Take, what's a Mikhail? Level 12? I guess you can't use Mikhail at that point. Yeah, you can. Yeah, if that's 10, you'll have a Mikhail. The Mikhail higher has D-door, so if you have to use him. Let's see, Reclamation. Ataraxia is fine. You know how that goes. Newcomers. There were some traps in newcomers. You could jump them. It wasn't really an issue. I didn't have a problem with it. Mists, I did mists on normal first so I could get through. And that's what I want to say. I got through mists and I went into Death House to farm the boots. And I rolled shards on it because the freedom of movement is so valuable that it's something you really have to go for. Now, the trap hallway where you start going, south, and you have those 3 blades that you normally on live would try to jump, and if you die, whatever. If you circle around and jump on the bags near the wall, you can completely avoid those blades. So, use that information for what you will. I owe that one to Southern. She told me about it, and I was like, why the heck didn't I? Why haven't I been doing this the whole time? So, that was a big help. Hiding in plain sight. You can solo it, but it's much easier if you have the higher or the traps done. The first one, of course, has the acid and the fire and stuff. You can meet through it. Coming up after that, you've got some spikes, you've got some spinnies, you have the swimming with the spinnies, and yes, you can pause between the spinnies. We lost a guy in there. I don't know exactly where, but he stopped a type or AFK'd or something. He died. So be careful. Let's see. Fresh baked. Everything's fine here. Just don't get mobbed and tripped by wolves. Be careful when you're kicking the door in. Look out for a champ hag, and you'll be fine. Let's see. Death House. Mediterranean, we're too familiar with that one. I'm not going to touch those. Black and blue, it's fine. Use your electric absorption. Use your jump scrolls. Just stay off the electric. It does a lot of damage. In fact, it felt like black and blue did more damage than spies. So take that for what you will. Invitation. Talk to the guy. Use Mikhail. D-door out. Cast your D-door first, and don't fight the shades. Forge. I couldn't get a group. Couldn't get a group for Forge. I got into a group with Shrimp Boat, and things were going good. But we couldn't quite get the puzzle. They did the underwater swim fine, but there was something wrong in the Fire Forge area. It's taking too long. I had to take my kids to soccer, so I had to leave. The tombs, you know the tombs. Tombs are fine. You can wiki walk those. Whisper Doom, that's fine too. Just beware of the blades when you're going down the long hallway with the ogres. And then beware the Sonic. Amber, just clear your stuff. Watch out for fire skulls. I would advise going in and grabbing the first scroll. Like I did a video on this. You grab the first scroll, you go up, you talk to the Lich, you bring your restoration scrolls, you bring your true seeing, get the second one, go back up through, and if you're lucky, you can find it in the treasure room, you can find it in the crypt through the D door. If not, there might be a little bit of looking, but basically if you don't find the first one in the first 1 or 2 locations, I'd reset and try again. Let's see. What else isn't here is mentioning? Dreams of Insanity, Beholders. If you're going to spend points, get yourself your Beholder Crystal. Now let's touch on this for a second. There are 2 types. This one is the more expensive one, yet it strangely is called Lesser Crystal. But it also says absorbs the most deadly of standard spells. The other crystal costs less, but it doesn't say that. So take that for what you will. I would also recommend having your mantle on when you're talking to these beholders in Dreams of Insanity. Just any kind of spell negation. You don't want to get a failed disintegrate to end your game. And keep your death ward up. while you're in there, because the beholders love to dispel your death ward, and then all of a sudden you're getting hit by negatives and all kinds of wacky stuff. Let's see. Offering of Blood is quick. Wrath is quick. I missed that Titan. They put the new quests in, so these popped up, and I was over level to do them, but I still didn't need them. Lord's March. Be careful with the minefield. Be careful with the first part. What framework? Be careful with the traps on the ramp. I had to use a rogue hire. I wasn't going to try to risk it. Invaders, definitely a group. Not to be selfish, but send somebody else. Send a crazy barb, send a paladin, let them deal with the beholders while you take them out from the back. Let's see. Diplomatic, Cursed Crypt. That's ideally a group one. You can solo it, but watch out for the traps. There's the sonic traps in the one room. There's the blades on the tower up. And don't kill the whatchamacallums, the silver flames. Chamber of Ram, you know what that one is. Chains of Flame, lots of traps in there. I wouldn't try it, especially with the fire hallway. And there's the other hallway with the blades and the spinning. Yeah, just take a hire in there, or take a buddy with a trapping skill. ADQ, she's still susceptible to, what is that? Waves of Exhaustion. You can use that to slow her down. Memoirs is fine. Maze of Madness you can still get through without a trapper, but it's much easier if you have trapping help. FOD, that's easy. Don't worry about the traps there. Just at the end, be careful of casters. Mainly be careful of casters and FOD. Devil's Details was fine. Demon Assault. Nothing really issue with the Archons. Just make sure to remind everybody not to touch the tile at the end in the Archons when you're going through and doing the electric puzzle. They love to mess that up and send the electric through, so put your electric on, get your jump scroll on, be ready to jump out of there. Tower of Frost, I did that with a group. It was a lot easier than having to try to solo that, but you can wiki-walk it, especially for the puzzle where you tell the story. Tavern Brawl, I soloed that one. It wasn't bad. You just do them in waves. Subversion, it's a lot easier if you can pick that door. So if you can't pick the door and you have to find the 3 levers, that's annoying. Reaver's Fate, we got a group for that one. I can't stand that puzzle at the end of Reaver's Fate, and if you've got somebody tough or with evasion who can fly for the lever, that's super helpful, so I was able to grab that raid. Quarantine, nothing really. The Age of Rage chain, I didn't have any problems there. Let's see, Prison of Plains is a lot easier if you have somebody to help you with the pulls and to take some of the aggro when you're in the rooms. Multitude of Menace, it's not a problem, you can solo that one. Madstone, had a group for that. Let's see if we can move forward a little bit here. Crucible, we had a swimmer, so I didn't have to worry about any of that business, because I'm not so good at swimming Crucible. What was the one with the Beholder? The Age of Rage, I think it's called Toxic Treatment. Didn't have a problem with that. Sharn wasn't bad, you just have to watch out for, what is it? The Artificers have that tactical detonation. Don't get tripped by that when you're doing, was it the third one? The third one of Sharn Chain 1. It's past Red Rain. I don't remember. Tethmar wasn't bad. Didn't have a problem with that. Litany, you can solo it. It's not bad. Just wiki the answers. Just Business. I had a group for that, which was annoying to have to try to solo that because of the force damage from the airships, and then I also had the aura AoE, so range wasn't my sortie there. And the Bombats, if they go spark, make sure they're dead or step away. Missing chain was not hard. As long as everybody knows what they're doing, we didn't have a problem with the missing chain. Desire in the Dark, we were about to do that one, and then we had the notice that the server was going to go down for the hotfix to U49, so we didn't get to finish Desire. But I could still go do it. I mean, I'm 19, so this is where I kind of was, there's more stuff that I could have done. So I got through Sharn Chain 1. I didn't even have to go into Change 2. I did Veil. Let's see, I did Cogs. And I did Weeloon. I did Sharn Docks. And Druid's Chain and Evening Star. And then Lord of Stone, Lord of Eyes, we did that one as a group. I was lucky enough to get into a group for the Deliriums, otherwise I probably wouldn't have touched them, and no, we didn't do Terminal. I did not do, what is it, the SOS, the Kobold, Prey Hunter, and the other one with the Ice Giants. I didn't do that one. So now we're getting to the stuff I didn't do. I did High Road, and that was, I did a Hound, and I did a Vision of Destruction. Vision of Destruction, if I had to do it again, I wouldn't. I didn't like the risk involved there with the electrical circles. We messed up, somebody blew a trap, so those were active. And it was the Orthons, it was just very risky. So I probably wouldn't do the Vision of Destruction again. Stay at the inn, but that's about it. I did one in Amrath, the weapons shipment. I jumped in that to finish up the 5K and everything. I did the riddle, and I did one from Cannith, and that is it. So I hit the 5K without really even touching any of the more difficult stuff. I didn't do Inspired Quarter. Yeah, no Jeets, no Monastery Scorpion, no Kobold, no Prey the Hunter, of course no Shroud. No Stealer of Souls, and I was able to get by without doing Mask of Deception or Shard Chain 2, but those are still a possibility. And here we are at 5K. So, equipment-wise, here's where we ended up. The goggles I used for the Evocation Focus and the Wizardry just to get a little bit more spell points so that I could be better on the Everett's Tentacles, on the casting, the amount of casts. I used Blackmail just for the Fortification, Physical Sheltering, and False Life mainly, but also because I like the way it looks. I do have Blessed Vestments hiding somewhere in a bank or something, but they're ugly, so I didn't want to wear them. Let's see. I used this for the spell resistance and saves, and also as my con item for the +8 on the wrists. This ring slot I just did for the Charisma and the bonus to Radiance damage for the Aura. This, of course, was the FOM. The boot slot was for the freedom of movement. So that's pretty much locked in. I'm never gonna lose the FOM. I'm always gonna use that. The head slot I was using mainly for the resistance 6, but there is some overlap here on the wizardry, so there could have been a slight tweak there. I wasn't getting any of the items I was really wanting, and I wasn't too worried about rerolls. Neck I was using for sheltering, and I also really liked the insightful spell resistance. So as you can see, the spell resistance was good. They couldn't hit me with cheap stuff. They had to have a high DC to even hit me. Voice I was swapping sometimes for the Beholder Trinket. And then sometimes I was using this Kalis Touch for the DR. But I wasn't too concerned. Cloak of Mimic, 16. Yes, I wanted to use it sooner, but I thought it would be a waste if I was using the Mimic tokens for something that I would be able to use long term. So the Mimic slot, or the Cloak slot, was pretty locked in with the Mimic Cloak once I was able to land it. And then, let's see. I had to use this for speed. I needed speed. I was tired of casting Expeditious Retreat on myself, and I was only getting like 5 minutes on the clicky, and it was just annoying. So with the Warlock Enlightened Spirit, I no longer had to worry about the Magic Missile, but I was still casting this anyway to up my saves. So here's my saves: 33, 18, 29, 14. On a cast, I was... Okay, maybe not getting bonuses. Well, perhaps it was a placebo effect, but at some point I was continuing to use this just because I wanted the resistance bonus to saves. Let's see, this ring I was slotting in and out mainly for the True Seeing, but also so that I could keep the 2 slots for the 10% on the hit points, because obviously con is your #1 stat. In fact, none of my level ups were in Charisma. I always leveled up con every time. And these gloves were just too valuable to give away. The 20% was nice because I wasn't keeping my displacement up all the time. The regeneration, the points were coming in every once in a while. But the other big bonuses it had were the Quelling Strikes. So I was able to run up to a caster, start hitting it with my Radiance, my Aura, and all that, but also hitting it with my weapons. And if I could land a Quelling Strike, that caster was out of the game until I could finish it with my subsequent Aura Blasts. So the Quelling Strikes were extremely valuable. I couldn't give that up. And the Insightful Magical Sheltering was also a huge help. Couldn't go wrong there. In my hands, once I got the Barovian Scepter, I just kept it slotted. I had a couple of possibilities for potency replacement, like for gloves and stuff, but I just couldn't deal with it. And I didn't want to waste time on Gear Tetris, so I just left the Barovian Scepter in hand. And the other one, I toyed with the idea of using a Radiance, but I ended up just sticking with this Combustion Fire lore. And yes, in the Age of Rage chain, a wild flame dropped, and this artificer took it. I don't know why he was an artificer. Um, in Hardcore League, I want you all to think about this. You're not worried about alts in Hardcore League. If an item drops that somebody in your group that you guys are running can use, just give it to them. That's going to help you drastically in an indirect way, because as these people are leveling up, you're going to group with them again. I guarantee it. And them being more effective at their job is going to make your survivability more. So if the guy would have just handed me the Wild Flame, I wouldn't be bent out of shape about it still, but I kind of am. At any rate, the Wild Flame, the combustion was like, I don't know, 83, and the Fire Lore was 14, so it wasn't huge, but I was just still miffed. And yeah, I'll tell you his name if you want. Anyway, ammunition, this dropped. I didn't need it, but I just put it there. So, that's that. I was also holding clickies. You know, you've got your heal scrolls. I got my UMD up high enough to deal with that. I was using restorations because people are like, oh help, you know, restoration. And yeah, I'm going to help them. If helping them keeps me surviving or keeping them doing damage. And I have all kinds of tricks. When I see a barb or a bear or a paladin in the group and they think they're all that, I hit them with rage. I hit them with my resist spell. I hit them with death ward, and I send them forth so that they can do their job, and they do it, and it costs me less aggro and less damage, and they're getting it done, and me keeping them up and doing their job is a lot easier than me keeping myself up while I'm taking hits. So take that for what you will. I was holding a lot of items just in case there were checks. I'm holding a Diplomacy 16, a Bluff 16, and an Intimidate 17 in case I have to deal with any check items. And as I leveled up, I was seeing them in quest rewards or dropping or whatever, I would just increase the level. But I was always holding an item of that sort. I was also holding a haggle item for when I was selling gems and items at the vendor. It really helps. Just get your money up and give it to your guild or whatever for better buffs. And then, of course, here's my underwater action item from Red Fens, which is super valuable. And then I also have a jump item for when I just need that extra jump. But I also have a jump scroll so that I can combine them together and really get an extended jump into the Great Beyond, whatever. Another item I couldn't give away was the Bottled Sunlight, the Good Hope for the +2 checks. I was casting it on trappers, I was casting it on people who were doing checks, I was casting it on myself when I was doing bluff checks, so it was extremely valuable, the necklace. The only one that I'm regretting not getting was the Crown of Snow. I really wanted that, and I would have slotted that easily up here in order to get the ice possibility on all of my Eldritch Blasts. In fact, if I were to continue moving forward, I probably would have an alt go and farm that for me, and yes, I would take a level 5 item if I could slot that in, because that would be something. What else have we got? Let's take a look around. I picked up some Tome pages. Yes, I got my Harper pin. Super valuable. You never know when you're going to need to slot it and spot it. Use that. I do have various items that I picked up that I couldn't use that maybe I could have slotted if I'd played Gear Trash just a little bit, but I was just concerned with getting the favor rather than trying to deal with creating a perfect character. And it looked like that paid off because here I am with the 5K. Let's see. In this tab I was keeping stuff that I was trying to give away to guildies because it's useful. I mean, if I ever find an item that has both like a boost to the base but also to the crit chance, I'm gonna hold it. So here's a trapper item I'm trying to give away. Here's the potency item I was thinking about slotting in my gloves. You know, the potency 61 was kind of helpful, and I could possibly drop the scepter, but I didn't exactly have a radiant scepter I could swap in, so I wasn't too concerned with it. Let's see, what's going on with the head slot? Resistance 60. Oh, concentration 15. There we go. +5 Thieves Tools, always good to give those away to guildies. This is another one that I was interested in having. Your fortification you want to keep high, you don't want to deal with a crit because you will inevitably take hits. So as you can see, my fortification is at 141, but if I needed to switch things around a little bit, I could also put this on. And the spell sight would be a little bit of a bonus because it's higher than the spell sight that this was granting. This is what, 18? But that was insightful. So I don't know, I'd probably turn the 12 to 16, that'd be a +4. So as you can see, that's why I'm not wearing it. Here's one for like a Pale Master that I was trying to give away. if you are worried about the maggot plague, this item is about as good as you can get defending yourself from it. It's going to protect, but not against the magical one. This is only against the natural, but it will give the +6 against the magical saving throw. So you still have to watch to make sure you don't get hit by it. And here's an Ironwood Kompesh, if anybody wanted it, so whatever. That is about all, guys. I still really have not decided what tome to get. As you know, once you hit 5k favor, you should go back to Nyx, the drow, and get your +5 tome. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this character, so I haven't picked the tome yet. But I'm taking a little rest from hardcore at the moment because I'm kind of burned out. I just wanted to do this video to show that yes, I did get the horse. I didn't forget about it. I just hadn't been online and showing it lately. But it's actually pretty cool. It's well done. The cosmetic is nice. And then we'll see how we go about the Reaper points. I don't really have Reaper per se on this character. What, 2,000 out of 100,000? So that's just not a grind I'm interested in doing at this time. At any rate, this is serious. Just checking back in to let you know that I did make the 5